This wasn't staged, but Trump will exploit it, and he'll exploit it and use it against us again and again.
I'm not going to any more events where Trump's at him. I don't feel safe. Wherever Donald Trump
Chaos
is,
follows him.
Chaos follows him. And you are less safe, right? If you decide to go into his orbit, you have become less safe. He does not care about your safety. He's not going to protect you if you go into his orbit, because he's always going to protect himself first. He's more likely to throw you under the bus. He's more likely to have you be the target of Iranian assassins if you're John Bolton or Mike Pompeo. And he's going to pull any sort of federal support, right?
Well, last night was interesting. If you follow the White House Correspondents Association dinner, a man burst in firing a shotgun, had a handgun and some knives on him. He was tackled by Secret Service, wrestled to the ground, and nothing happened. Of course, there were plenty of reporters running around inside saying they'd never been so afraid in their entire life. Donald Trump was evacuated. No one was inside the ballroom, was under an imminent physical danger, but a real one had the guy burst through, but, of course, the Secret Service did do their job.
Well, he had a lot of anti-Christian rhetoric. He was part of a group called the Wide Awakes. He had attended a No Kings protest in California.
No Kings. Yeah.
What did security tell you about what may have been his motives?
The reason you have people like that is you have people doing No Kings. I'm not a king. What I am, if I was a king, I wouldn't be dealing with you.
Meanwhile, plenty of people today are saying it was all staged or a hoax or a fake. Now, Donald Trump will exploit things to his own ability as best he can, as he did by coming out and saying this was a reason for a big, beautiful ballroom. Well, no, Donald. This was the WHCA event. It wasn't a government event. So we don't need the big, beautiful ballroom to have our party that we invited you to.
Well, first of all, I have to say, it's not a safe ballroom. I'm building a safe ballroom. And one of the reasons I'm building it is exactly what happened last night. We're building a room right there. If you walk out and move 20 yards to the left, you'll be right at the entrance to the ballroom. And that ballroom is being built on the safest piece of property in this country, probably one of the safest pieces of land in the world. We have...
But that's the White House. The White House Correspondents' Dinner can't use White House property.
It's able to be used by certainly the White House. It says the White House Correspondents. Well, that's the White House press. I'm sure that it's available. It's up to the president, but that would be made available.
And you don't get to tell us when we're going to reschedule the event. That'll be up to the WHCA board. I'm sure they'll consult you as you are a guest. But, everything isn't up to you to decide.
The man has been captured. They're going to his apartment. I guess he lives in California. And he's a sick person, a very sick person.
That's a problem. This wasn't staged. But Trump will exploit it, and he'll exploit it and use it against us again and again.
Was exactly the kind of incendiary blame the media response that I expected we would hear from the Trump administration right after the shooting incident, blaming the opposing party and blaming the media that was sitting in the room for the actions of a would-be assassin. The press secretary said that criticism of the president is inspiring crazy people to, quote, commit violence because of those words, and it has to stop. And she has every right to make that argument. She has every right to make that argument, but it's not in the spirit of the First Amendment. And if the Trump administration tries to use its power to silence people, to try to enforce her point, to shut down criticism, that's when the First Amendment alarms would start to ring.